Good morning. Welcome to another walk on the beach with Earl. And man, what a morning. What a morning it is. My goodness. Do you agree that this is a blessing? So, what I want to talk about is, again, sobriety, but beyond that. And you guys have heard me talk about putting the plug in the jug and how that's not exactly what recovery is. Recovery is not just quitting drinking. There's so much more to it than that. I found myself on YouTube, watching YouTube, and I do that quite often just to see what the buzz is out there now. And I ran across several videos about quitting drinking. And this one caught my eye because it said you can quit drinking all by yourself, all on your own, just quit drinking. There were, helpful tips, if you will, on early sobriety and what to do about it. So we're going to talk about some of those and see what you think. So one of the things that they were talking about was removing the alcohol from your home. Well, okay, how do you do that? My first thought as an alcoholic who's drinking, how do you remove it from the home? You drink it. Regardless, pour it out, give it to the neighbor, throw it away, whatever. Okay, so now there's no alcohol in the house. Man, that never stopped me from drinking. But that was their idea of removing the temptation so that you're not exposed to it. You're not tempted because it's there. I mean, I guess that would be helpful. That's one of the things we tell newcomers, remove yourself from the alcohol. Nothing wrong with this suggestion. Nothing at all. Get it out of the house so it's not there and easily accessible. Another one that they said was make sure you tell all your friends that you have quit drinking so that they can kind of look out for you and remind you that, hey, I thought you quit drinking. Okay. And I guess that's somewhat helpful. Again, I'm not bashing these suggestions at all. These suggestions are fine. The last one that I heard before I had to shut it off was, I can't remember the exact name of this device, but it basically is a battery-operated device that you can test yourself for alcohol content. And it's like this program, and I'm sure it costs you plenty, but it texts you 15 minutes before your scheduled time to blow into this machine, which sends it across the airways or whatever to the home office, and they either give you a positive or negative reading. And that's a supposed deterrent. And then after all of this, they were talking about how wonderful life can be without alcohol. And, now I have my job is better, my home life is better, and all of these things just because I removed the alcohol from my life. Again, I'm not trying to bash anybody or bash any kind of process that eliminates alcohol from your life. Believe me, I'm not. The only issue I have is that's a classic case of putting the plug in the jug. Putting the plug in the jug does not deal with my past. Putting the plug in the jug does not give me hope for tomorrow. Putting the plug in the jug does not make amends to all those people that I've hurt. And putting the plug in the jug does not make me any happier with who I still am. The recovery that was necessary for this guy had to do with an overhaul of Earl. That overhaul of Earl does not come from just removing the alcohol from my home, telling my friends that I'm quitting drinking, and carrying around a device that I can blow into. Those things, as fine as they may be, does not provide me with recovery. I may be able to stop drinking by doing that. Maybe. I seriously doubt it, at least for this alcoholic. There's no way that would have worked for me. No way. But even if it did, I'd be the most miserable guy you ever met. And I am far from that today, you know? I love life. If anybody ever thinks for just 1 second that I'm unhappy, they're either blind or deaf or both. I mean, I am an extremely happy individual. I love the life that I have today. And it's not because I put the plug in the jug. There's so much more to sobriety and recovery than that. And I hope you guys understand that. Sobriety is not just not drinking. Now, you know, I guess if you were to look it up in the dictionary, sobriety. Here, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what Google has to say. Definition of sobriety.
Here's the definition of sobriety. The state of being sober.
The state of being sober. That's a good one. Okay. Clear-headedness. Abstinence. Moderation is in there. Okay. Here's the true meaning. Sobriety refers to the physiological and psychological state of being unaffected by the presence of an intoxicant. For people who are in recovery from substance or alcohol use, the definition of sobriety is similar to the definition of abstinence. It means living a life free of drug or alcohol use. Now, that's basically what putting the plug in the jug is. Just living a life free of alcohol and drugs. If that's all you want, let me tell you something, you're ripping yourself off. Anybody that gets sober just by setting it down is missing out on 95%, if not better, 95 or more percent of what recovery is all about. Recovery is not just putting the alcohol down. There's so much more, and it's the best part. Miracles happen. Miracles. I mean true miracles. You know, what about helping others? What about my relationship with a power greater than myself? Those are gifts that can't possibly come by just not drinking. I mean, come on. Take a look at that. It's getting pretty amazing out here. And I believe the sun is actually up. So if just not drinking is the answer, you know, and it's funny because when I first got into recovery, that's the way I felt. I felt like, wait a minute, no, you guys don't understand. I don't have any other problems. The only problem I have is drinking. I didn't know that I had so many problems. And most people who've been drinking don't. They think that their problems are because of their drinking. No, their drinking is because of their problems. So if you take away the only solution that they've ever had for their problems, which was alcohol, you take away their solution, now all they have is problems. I've been there, done that. I know what that feels like. Thank God I got involved in recovery. I started doing the 12 steps. It made such a big difference in my life. Talk about relationships and things like that. Leave out the romantic relationships, because even after 15 years, I have no idea what I'm doing. But, oh goodness. Actually, in February, I'm coming up on 16 in February. I'll be 16, woohoo! Sweet 16. But, you know, life is good in recovery because I have dealt with my past. I've dealt with who I was, and I have grown into the person that I am. And I'm happy with that guy. None of that would have come about just by setting down the booze. I don't know, I'm pretty passionate about this because it didn't just give me sobriety, it gave me a new life. It gave me who I am today. And I'm extremely pleased with who I am today. I couldn't say that before. With or without alcohol, I couldn't say that before. So you guys have a great day. And, you know, yeah, keep the plug in the jug, but, damn, become a new person. I think you'll like who you are. See you next time. Bye-bye.